Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Nature Channel. Take a slow breath in and let it soften on the exhale. Tonight, you and I are drifting far from Earth into the gentle, glowing clouds where stars are born. A calm journey through cosmic mist, silent light, and the softest corners of the universe. If you enjoy these peaceful travels, feel free to like and subscribe, but only if it feels natural. For now, you can simply rest and let the stars guide you. Here, in the quiet between worlds, the first thing you notice is how still everything feels. There's no wind, no sound, only the slow shimmer of distant light. You float past a pale blue haze, the kind formed by tiny drifting grains reflecting starlight. They look like dust, yet each grain once belonged to an older star, one that lived its life and gently returned its material to space. You can almost sense the long rhythm of creation and rest. A little farther, a soft lavender glow rises like a cloud suspended in darkness. This is a reflection nebula, where light from young stars scatters across floating particles. The glow isn't loud or sharp. It feels like a soft breath of color spreading through velvet space. If you listen with your imagination, it has the hush of a distant lullaby. You drift through a region where hydrogen gas glows faintly red. It's the universe's simplest element, yet it paints entire stretches of sky with gentle light. This glow doesn't flicker, it hangs perfectly still, reminding you how patient the cosmos can be. Stars are slowly forming inside these clouds, but their birth takes millions of years, long enough for the universe itself to feel unhurried. A cluster of tiny stars twinkles nearby, each one only a few million years old. That might sound ancient, but in cosmic time, they're barely children. Their light feels sharp and fresh, like morning air. If you could touch the glow, it might feel cool, almost dewy. Passing deeper into the nebula, you notice darker patches, cool shadows where dust gathers so thickly that even starlight cannot pass through. Yet these shadows aren't empty. They cradle new worlds still curled in darkness, waiting for their moment. The stillness here feels protective, like a soft blanket wrapped around something precious. Far ahead, a faint swirl moves slowly, almost imperceptibly. It's a pillar of gas shaped by distant starlight. These shapes shift over thousands of years, sculpted by gentle cosmic breezes. Nothing rushes. Everything stretches and breathes in vast, unbroken calm. As you drift, you pass a thread of light, thin as silk, glowing from the remnants of an ancient star. This filament is a memory, a quiet echo left behind. Touching it with your eyes feels like reading a line of poetry written in stardust. You sense how even endings in the universe become beginnings somewhere else. A soft, golden haze surrounds you. It comes from tiny, warm grains heated by nearby light. These grains spin slowly, releasing a faint glow that looks like candlelight floating in air. In this golden mist, time feels slower, like the universe is whispering for you to rest just a little deeper. A distant patch of blue appears again, cool, calm, and full of tiny newborn systems. Stars there are forming with gentle precision, gathering material grain by grain. From where you float, the whole region looks like a watercolor painting suspended in absolute stillness. Nearby, a pale green shimmer curves around a cluster of young suns. This color comes from energized oxygen, glowing softly as it releases light. It forms a delicate arc, almost like a cosmic aurora, slow and serene. You drift closer, letting the glow wash around you like a quiet breeze. Ahead is a long, dark lane of dust stretching across the nebula like a peaceful river. Though dark, it is the birthplace of stars. Here, gas cools and gathers, preparing to ignite into new suns far in the future. If you hover here, you can almost imagine the warmth those future stars will bring. Tiny sparkles scatter around you, bit of ice forming on dust grains, reflecting the faintest starlight. Some glimmer blue, others fade in warm silver tones. Together, they look like frozen fireflies drifting in slow motion. A gentle violet glow spreads to your left, created by ultraviolet light filtering through wisps of gas. It isn't harsh, it's softened by distance and dust, turning it into a soothing pastel glow. You feel it like the cool touch of early dusk. You pass a region where the gas is almost entirely motionless, held in balance by the gentle pull of gravity. This stillness is so perfect that it feels like the universe holding its breath. Around you, time stretches wide and unbroken. Farther on, you drift through a faint, warm, coral-colored mist. Inside it, the tiniest molecules spin and vibrate, glowing just enough to tint the space around them. This subtle light feels comforting, like the glow of a lantern seen from far away. As you glide forward, a cluster of faint stars gathers beneath you. They sparkle like dew on the edge of dawn. Each star will one day host its own worlds, quiet spheres of rock, gas, or ice. But for now, they simply shimmer in newborn calm. You catch sight of a slow-moving wave in the gas, a gentle ripple caused by a passing star long ago. The wave travels silently through the cloud, reshaping it ever so slightly. Nothing loud, nothing sudden. Just a drifting curve of motion through stillness. Ahead, a faint arch of blue and silver appears, a boundary where the nebula thins into open space. Beyond it lies the dark, peaceful stretch between stars. But for now, you remain within the cloud, letting its softness surround you. You float through one last swirl of light, pale pink and golden, where dust grains shimmer like tiny lanterns. In this glow, you feel the universe quieting even more. Everything slows, softens, rests. And as you drift deeper into this calm, the nebula becomes a blanket of gentle color around you, guiding you toward the next chapter of your journey. As you leave the soft glow of the nebula behind, the light around you begins to thin. Colors fade into deeper blues and velvety black, like the sky just after sunset when the last trace of day finally lets go. Here, between clouds of gas and dust, space feels open and gentle, like a wide, calm ocean. You notice how the stars look different out here. In the nebula, they were wrapped in mist. Now, they shine with clearer, sharper halos, tiny suns scattered across an immense, dark canvas. Some glow with a golden warmth, others with a cooler, bluish tint. The blue ones are hot and young, burning quickly. The red and orange stars are older, quieter, taking their time. Far ahead, one star grows a little brighter than the others as you drift toward it. It isn't huge or dramatic, just a calm, middle-aged star, not so different from the sun you know. Around it, an invisible bubble forms, a region where the star's light and particles gently push back against the thin gas of space. This soft boundary is like the shoreline of a tiny stellar sea. As you move closer, you sense that this star is surrounded by a family of small, frozen objects in a distant, quiet ring. These are icy fragments, leftovers from the system's early days, drifting slowly as if lulled by time. Some of them are dark as charcoal, others coated in reflective ice that glints faintly whenever a distant light hits them just right. From this ring, you notice one faint, icy traveler beginning a slow inward path, a comet. Its nucleus is small, just a lump of rock and frozen gases, but its journey is long. For now, far from the star, it looks simple and bare. No tail, no glow, just a quiet seed of ice moving patiently along its orbit. As you follow it inward, the star's light gradually grows brighter. Tiny particles on the comet's surface begin to warm and release gas. It's not sudden, just a gentle exhale from the ice. A thin envelope of vapor forms around it, almost transparent, called a coma. If you watch closely, you would see countless molecules leaving the surface, drifting away like the softest of sighs. The star's light and wind slowly sweep that gas and dust backward, shaping it into a long, delicate tail that streams away from the star. It's not fire, not smoke, just sunlight pushing tiny particles into a graceful arc. One tail forms from dust, pale and soft, reflecting the light. Another, even fainter, is made of ionized gas, glowing with a gentle bluish tinge. Together, they trail behind the comet like strands of silk. You drift beside it, watching how the tail always points away from the star, no matter which way the comet is moving. It feels like a gentle reminder that light doesn't only illuminate, it pushes, shapes, and guides, leaving quiet patterns in space behind every small traveler. Below the comet's path, a thin band of rocky fragments circles the star, an asteroid belt. From a distance, it looks almost empty, but as you glide closer, you see scattered rocks of all sizes drifting in slow orbits. Some are as small as boulders, others as large as mountains. None of them touch, none of them rush. They simply move, each on its own path, held in place by the star's steady pull. Many of these rocks are remnants of a planet that never formed, pieces that remained separate, never gathered into a single world. Yet they have their own quiet beauty. Some are rich in metal, shining dully like old tools. Others are carbon-rich, dark and velvety. A few hold trapped water and ancient minerals, time capsules from the early days of this stellar system. You notice that even here, in what might look like a cluttered region on a diagram, most of space is still open and serene. The distances between rocks are enormous. They pass one another with a slow, respectful distance, like ships gliding through a wide, calm harbor. Farther inward, closer to the star, you sense the warmth rising. Here, any ice would quickly vaporize, so the worlds that can exist are more likely to be rocky. You drift past one such planet, small, quiet, and airless. Its surface is marked by gentle craters, each one a memory of an old impact, long cooled and still. No atmosphere ruffles the dust. Every stone sits exactly where it has for eons. On the far side of this world, the star rises slowly above the horizon. The way the light creeps across the craters and hills is unhurried and soft. There is no sound, no wind, just the slow reveal of light over stone. Dawn here is a silent painting that takes hours to unfold. You leave the inner region and drift outward again, back toward the outskirts of the system. The star's glow grows softer behind you, its light thinning into the general starlight of the galaxy. Around you, tiny grains of dust still float, remnants of comets and collisions. They catch what little light there is and turn it into very faint glimmers, almost like distant snowflakes in the dark. As you move beyond the reach of this star's wind, you cross its outer boundary, where the flow of its particles gives way to the gentle presence of the galaxy's wider environment. This invisible frontier is like stepping from a warm, sunlit room into a cool, quiet hallway. The difference is subtle but soothing. Here, far between stars, you sense the presence of countless other systems, each with their own comets, belts, and small worlds. Though you cannot see them all, you know they are there, scattered through the darkness like little pockets of light and warmth. Some may hold planets with oceans and skies. Others may be bare and silent. All of them drift gently through the galaxy together. In the distance, you catch sight of another faint glow. Not a single star this time, but a small cluster of them. They were born together from the same cloud, and for now, they still travel as a family. Their light blends into a soft, jewel-like shimmer against the dark. Many of their planets, if they have any, are still young, with surfaces cooling and atmospheres forming slowly. You let your path curve toward this cluster. As you drift, a faint thread of dust connects one region of space to another. The ghostly remains of older comets and collisions stretched out into a delicate bridge. It reminds you that even in such vast distances, nothing is truly separate. Every star, every rock, every grain of dust participates in the same slow, cosmic circulation. As you pass the cluster, you feel the brightness gently increase around you. Not glaring, not harsh, just a soft enrichment of starlight. Multiple suns nearby combine their light into a kind of cosmic dusk, where shadow and glow overlap in a peaceful balance. Here, in this softly lit region, you pause for a moment. You imagine distant comets circling these stars, faint, icy travelers gathering tails when they drift inward and returning quietly to the outer dark. You sense asteroid belts, dusty rings, and slow orbits that will continue long after you have drifted on. The universe from this vantage point feels not empty, but peacefully full of paths, of gentle motions, of long-lasting rhythms that repeat and repeat, like a lullaby being hummed for billions of years. Wrapped in that thought, you turn your gaze outward again, toward a distant, colorful smudge on the horizon of space, a new nebula glowing in tones of blue and rose, waiting for you in the next part of your journey. You let yourself drift toward it, slowly, effortlessly, carried by the calm, invisible currents of the galaxy. And as you move, everything around you seems to whisper the same quiet message. There is time, there is space, and you are safe to rest as you travel. As you drift toward the soft rose-colored glow ahead, you notice how gentle the transition feels. There's no boundary, no curtain, just a gradual blending of dark space into a warm, luminous haze. The nebula opens like a slow-blooming flower, each petal made of starlit dust suspended in stillness. The first thing you sense here is how delicate the light is. It's not bright. It doesn't push or shimmer sharply. Instead, it spreads like watercolor across the sky, pale pinks mixing with deeper violets. These colors come from energized gas gently releasing its stored light, like an exhale that takes thousands of years. A faint streak of blue threads through the rose glow, oxygen atoms glowing softly. They don't flare or spark. They simply emit a cool, quiet tint, giving the nebula a sense of layered light, like soft silk weighted by stillness. Nearby, a cluster of tiny infant stars sparkles in pale gold. They're wrapped in cocoons of gas, hidden from direct sight, but their warm glow leaks through in small, tender hints. These stars are so new that their light hasn't yet burned away the clouds that cradle them. You drift deeper and come across a dark ribbon of dust stretching across the glow like a peaceful shadow. This isn't emptiness. It is a nursery where future stars sleep in cold silence. Every grain here holds the potential for worlds, oceans, skies. But none are in a hurry. In one corner, a gentle fan-shaped formation curves outward. This shape, sculpted by distant starlight, looks almost like the delicate edge of a shell. Cosmic winds, incredibly faint but persistent, have been brushing against it for thousands of years, carving its soft contours. You float past a pair of protostars, small whirlpools of light, surrounded by swirling disks of dust. The disks rotate slowly, patiently gathering material. Someday, these disks will give rise to planets. For now, they glimmer like tiny halos turning in space. Further in, a large, softly glowing bubble expands outward, its edges tinted in warm amber. This bubble was created by a young star releasing gentle streams of particles. Over vast time, those particles pushed the surrounding gas outward, forming this calm, rounded shape. In the distance, you see a faint teal aura, a cloud of ionized hydrogen cooling down. Its light is soothing, like a pale lantern floating through deep water. As you drift toward it, the colors shift almost imperceptibly, blending with soft pink and lavender swirls. A moment later, the space around you opens into a wide, quiet chamber within the nebula. The glow becomes more uniform here, like a room lit by a single distant candle. Tiny dust grains twirl slowly, reflecting glints of starlight as they turn. They look like drifting snowflakes, moving in slow motion. Your path leads through a small arch of gas shaped like a doorway. You pass under it effortlessly, watching the faint ripples left by your motion. Not real waves, but small luminosity shifts created as your presence disturbs the delicate balance of light and dust. Beyond the arch, a single bright star stands alone, illuminating a wide patch of the nebula. Its light feels warm but soft, filtered by the surrounding gas. This star is older than the others here, glowing with a steady, matured brightness. Its warmth gives the nebula a gentle inner hearth, like a quiet fire in a distant cabin. To your right, a region of the nebula grows dimmer, shaded by a thick cloud. Here, the light becomes more muted, almost mauve. You drift through it, feeling the atmosphere thicken with dust. It muffles everything, not sound, for space has none, but light, clarity, and even the sense of distance. Inside this dim pocket, you find tiny glints of reflected starlight, scattered like small beads on velvet. These are ice-coated grains, still cold enough to preserve their crystalline shine. They drift with perfect calm, untouched by wind or gravity. You gently emerge from the shaded region into a brighter area where the nebula takes on a glowing rose-gold hue. This light is produced by warm carbon compounds sprinkled through the gas, tiny, delicate molecules suspended across light years. Ahead, a wide curtain of gas hangs loosely, almost transparent. Behind it, stars twinkle as though seen through frosted glass. You drift past the curtain, and the stars regain their clarity, each one a pinpoint of calm brilliance. Farther in, you sense a long, slow rotation, a massive cloud turning with imperceptible patience. It rotates so gently that it would take millions of years to complete one revolution. Yet, you can feel its quiet momentum like the deep breathing of space itself. Above you, the nebula thins, revealing a stripe of deep midnight blue. You see faint hints of other nebulas in the far distance, small blurs waiting for future chapters of your journey. But for now, this rose-colored sanctuary holds you in its warm glow. You glide toward a region where the pink fades into a soft peach-colored haze. The light here feels like early morning, warm and inviting. Tiny shock fronts, barely visible, outline subtle arcs where gas meets older, slower-moving material. As you wander through this peach-lit corridor, you feel the density of the nebula slowly decreasing. The glow behind you begins to soften, its colors fading gently into space. Ahead, a pale blue light grows, hinting at a new and quiet region yet to explore. Leaving the warm rose-colored nebula behind, you drift gradually into a region where the light cools into soft shades of blue. At first, it is only a faint tint along the edges of space, a delicate wash like early dawn on a quiet lake. But as you move deeper, the color grows richer, spreading outwards in serene waves. The first thing you notice here is how clear the space feels. The dust is thinner, the haze more transparent. Stars shine with crisp, gentle brightness, as though they've been polished by the emptiness around them. This clarity isn't cold. It's refreshing, like stepping into a cool breeze after warm sunlight. Ahead, a pale blue reflection nebula hovers like a cloud of powdered light. Its color comes from dust grains scattering the glow of a nearby star. Instead of absorbing the light, they send it outward in all directions, creating a soft, floating aura that feels almost weightless. The nebula hangs there quietly, as if suspended in its own whisper. You drift closer and notice fine structures within the blue glow, thin folds and streams shaped by ancient winds. These currents aren't fast. They move over thousands of years, slowly sweeping the dust into intricate patterns. You can trace their paths like the lines on a gentle watercolor painting. As you glide through the nebula, tiny grains sparkle like snowflakes caught in oblique light. These particles are so small and light that they respond to the faintest pressure from nearby stars. Every glint is a moment of starlight reflected from a fragment of cosmic history. A little farther, you pass a cluster of stars young enough to still cling to the edges of their birth cloud. Their light is crisp, pale, and steady. Not harsh, but vibrantly alive. They shine with a bluish-white glow like tiny shards of ice warmed by inner fire. These stars spin quickly, moving with youthful energy even in the vast stillness. Below this cluster, you notice a wide, dim expanse where the blue fades into a soft, grayish haze. This region holds older dust, drifting in slower, more settled waves. There's a quietness here that feels deeper, like the lowered hush of a forest at dusk. The dust absorbs more light, giving the space a muted gentleness. You cross through a thin veil of this gray-blue fog and emerge into an open field of stars. The vastness around you feels like a meadow, a wide, serene stretch dotted with glowing blossoms of light. Some stars appear clustered like small gatherings of lanterns. Others stand alone, each one a solitary glow in the dark. Among these stars you find several faint brown dwarfs, objects not quite massive enough to ignite fully. They emit a subtle warmth, glowing in deep hues of purple and crimson. Their presence feels like warm stones scattered across the meadow, quiet and enduring. A little farther, you encounter a soft emerald tint drifting through the blue, a cloud rich in ionized oxygen glowing gently. Its greenish light creates a calming contrast, like the cool shade of a tree in summer amid open sunlight. It moves almost imperceptibly, a slow ripple through the star field. As you float onward, a beautifully structured blue arc appears, curving gracefully, like the edge of a delicate shell. This arc is formed by dust pushed outward by an aging star's gentle winds. Over eons, the dust collected into a thin, elegant boundary, marking where the star once breathed more actively. Beyond the arc, the light deepens into a rich sapphire hue. This part of the nebula is denser, the dust grains finer. The blue light scatters more strongly here, creating a luminous mist that seems to glow from within. In this glow, time feels slower, as if each moment stretches just a little further than the last. Ahead, a solitary giant star dominates the view. Its light is steady and powerful, but softened by the distance. Around it, a faint halo of dust forms a glowing ring, illuminated from within. If you drift alongside it, you can see tiny ripples in the halo, waves created as the star gently pulses and breathes. To your left, you notice a region where the nebula thins into a crystal-clear void. Here, stars behind the dust appear sharper and brighter, their colors truer. Without the scattering haze, their blue, white, and golden tones shine like jewels. The void feels peaceful, spacious, and open. Moving gently through this clear passage, you find a subtle ribbon of dust trailing across your path. It looks like a faint smoke trail, though it is completely still. This ribbon was left behind by a small, comet-like object long ago, a silent signature drifting through space for millions of years. Past the ribbon, you enter a soft, glowing patch where starlight reflects off very fine grains of icy material. The ice gives the space a cool, glassy glimmer, reminiscent of moonlight on a frozen lake. These grains float freely, turning slowly on their axes, catching light at different angles. A little deeper, you discover a quiet pocket, where the blue dims into pale lavender. This shade appears where the dust is thicker, absorbing some wavelengths and letting others through. The resulting color feels tranquil, like the last minutes of twilight before night fully settles. Beyond the lavender pocket, the star meadow opens again. Here, the stars appear sparser, each one spaced with wide, serene distances between them. These empty regions feel comforting, places where the universe takes long, quiet breaths. At the far edge of this blue-dusted realm, you notice a distant glow rising like a dawn on the horizon of space. It's not blue this time, nor pink, but warm gold, spreading softly in a broad, gentle arc. This is the entrance to a region where older stars gather, glowing with mellow amber light. As you drift toward that golden horizon, the blue light behind you fades into a memory of calm coolness. The stars around you grow warmer in tone, each one offering a quiet welcome to the next chapter. Your journey continues from blue silences to golden fields, carried gently by the soft currents of interstellar space. As you drift toward the warm golden glow ahead, the blue mist behind you slowly dissolves into softer and softer tones. The transition feels like moving from the cool hush of dawn into the gentle embrace of a late summer afternoon. The light becomes richer, deeper, touched with amber and honey. The first stars you meet here are old and steady, glowing with the calm warmth of long, patient lives. Their light doesn't flicker sharply. It flows outward in soft waves, like lanterns glowing behind layers of silk. These older suns shine with a color that feels comforting, as though space itself has wrapped them in a warm robe of time. Around one of these golden stars, you notice a thin, faint halo created by drifting dust. As the star ages, it sheds tiny particles that slowly spread into a delicate ring. The dust glows softly in the star's warm light, forming a quiet aureole that looks almost like a sunrise suspended in the void. Farther in, the golden region opens into a wide star field where ancient suns drift in loose gatherings. These are some of the oldest stars in the galaxy, quiet witnesses to cosmic history stretching billions of years. Their glow feels gentle but deeply grounded, like steady heartbeats pulsing through the darkness. Between the stars, fine threads of cool gas weave through the light. They appear darker against the golden background, forming slow, subtle currents. These filaments drift peacefully, offering contrast, like the soft shadow of a passing cloud over a sunlit meadow. You pass close to a star, nearing the final stages of its calm life. Instead of growing dim, it has expanded slightly, giving off a soft, peach-colored radiance. A thin shell of material surrounds it, glowing faintly as the star gradually lets go of its outer layers. This glow is not harsh or dramatic. It looks like a gentle breath spreading into space. A little farther, you come upon a cluster of stars gathered like a small family. Their combined light fills the space around them with a warm haze. These clusters can remain together for billions of years, slowly drifting. Each star maintaining its own path, yet staying close to the others, like old friends walking at the same unhurried pace. Here, the dust takes on a warmer hue as well, reflecting the amber glow. Tiny grains shimmer with golden highlights. When they rotate, they catch the light in tiny pulses, like the soft flicker of candles stirred by a distant breeze. You glide through a region with barely visible waves in the dust, gentle ripples created by ancient interactions between stars. These waves stretch for light years, but their motion is so slow you can only sense their presence, like the memory of movement etched in the fabric of space. Ahead, a wide glowing arch curves like a bridge. It was shaped long ago when a star passed through this region, gathering the dust into a faint arc behind it. The star is gone now, far away, but the shape it created remains, a soft, enduring echo of its journey. On the other side of the arch, the light grows slightly dimmer, transitioning into a deep amber dusk. Here, stars are spaced farther apart, giving each one a quiet solitude. Their light pools gently around them, glowing like warm embers on a darkened hearth. In this dimmer zone, you pass a few burnished dwarf stars, their light closer to copper than gold. They shine softly, their surfaces cooler, their glow more muted. Yet there is a unique comfort in their presence, the kind of calm that settles in places untouched by hurry. As you drift onward, a swirling cloud catches your eye. Not large, but beautifully shaped. It glows in a golden olive tone, illuminated from within by a cluster of tiny, faint stars just beginning to emerge. This little nursery contrasts with the older surroundings, a quiet reminder that even ancient regions can still give birth to new light. Floating past the cloud, you encounter a region where stardust thickens into soft, layered sheets. These layers filter the surrounding glow, turning it into a gentle, honey-colored haze. Here, the sense of depth feels deep and peaceful, like drifting through folds of calm sunlight. A little farther, the golden hue shifts to a deep burnt orange, where an even older population of stars resides. These stars have cooled over billions of years, their light mellowing into the warmest tones. They radiate like distant embers, slowly fading, though still steady and serene. You drift between two such stars, their combined glow forming a corridor of warm light. Dust particles drift through the corridor like quiet motes floating in a sunbeam. You watch them turn slowly, each one catching and reflecting the light in tiny, soothing flashes. Beyond this corridor lies a quiet pocket where the light fades into a soft, nearly sepia shade. It feels like stepping into a memory, warm, hushed, timeless. Here, you sense the subtle presence of ghostly remnants, faint shells of material shed by stars long ago, still drifting gently outward. As you move through them, they shimmer softly, their light faint but steady. These shells are like petals that once surrounded bright stars, now floating freely, spreading thinly into the galaxy. The golden field gradually begins to open, its colors thinning into paler tones. Ahead, a faint white glow gathers, bright but soft, like dawn building on the horizon. The change feels natural, like moving from a warm afternoon into the first touch of evening light. This pale radiance marks the entrance to a region of quiet white and silver stars, places where clarity sharpens and space feels cool once more. But their calm is different, not the cool hush of blue nebulae, and not the mellow warmth of ancient suns, but a gentle equilibrium between the two. As you drift toward that subtle white horizon, the golden meadow behind you settles in your memory like the warmth of a resting sun. You move forward, lighter, calmer, ready to enter a region where light becomes crisp and pure. Your journey continues, and the universe ahead opens softly, inviting you into the next space of quiet wonder. As you drift away from the warmth of the golden star fields, the light around you begins to pale. The deep ambers and honeyed tones fade into soft ivory, then into the clearest shades of silver. It feels as if the universe is slowly exhaling, letting the glow settle into a calm, even brightness. The first stars you meet here shine with a soft white radiance, their light pure and steady. These suns are neither young nor old. They exist in a gentle balance, burning cleanly, quietly, without the turbulence of youth or the heaviness of age. Their glow reminds you of moonlit snow, soft and cool, yet undeniably warm in spirit. Around one of these stars, a faint silvery halo of dust forms a wide circle. The grains reflect light with a soft metallic sheen, delicate as frost. As you drift through the halo, tiny reflections slide along your path, like drifting sparks of morning light caught on mist. A little farther, a thin sheet of a stellar wind sweeps through space with slow, graceful motion. You can't feel wind in the vacuum, but you can see how it nudges the dust, a subtle ripple forming across a wide, translucent veil. It looks like a breeze moving through sheer curtains. Beyond the veil lies a region dotted with white dwarf stars, small, glowing remnants of suns that have settled into their quiet, final states. Despite their size, their light is dense and concentrated, like small pearls glowing in the dark. They radiate a purity that feels almost meditative. You pass close to one and notice the faint, bluish-white shimmer surrounding it. This glow isn't from the star itself, but from the thin gas heated gently around it. The light pools softly, like a faint halo seen through frosted glass. Near the dwarfs, a pocket of dust thickens, forming a soft silver cloud. It doesn't absorb much light. Instead, it scatters it in graceful arcs, making the whole region appear as if wrapped in a luminous fog. Inside this fog, the sense of silence deepens. As though sound itself is sleeping, you drift into this cloud, and the starlight becomes diffused, spreading evenly around you. There are no harsh points or shadows, only smooth gradients of light. The dust grains are tiny crystals, each one twirling slowly, reflecting subtle glints like distant fireflies seen through snowfall. Exiting the cloud, you find a stretch of nearly empty space where starlight sharpens again. Here, countless stars shine in pale gold, white, silver, and soft blue, forming a tapestry reminiscent of frost patterns on winter windows. Their arrangement feels organic, as though the universe painted them with an unhurried hand. In this region, some stars have thin rings of icy debris orbiting them. These icy rings glow faintly in starlight, appearing almost translucent. The particles move slowly, completing their orbits over many years, creating looping ribbons of light. You watch a small moon-like object drifting within one such ring. Its surface shines in mottled silver gray, reflecting the star's light like polished stone. It travels smoothly, as if gliding on a quiet, invisible current. Not far from it, a young star pulses softly, its brightness waxing and waning over long intervals. This pulsation doesn't feel unstable. It's more like the gentle beat of a heart. Each pulse illuminates the surrounding dust with a rhythmic glow like lanterns breathing. Farther ahead, you see a broad river of dust stretching across the stars. It flows through space in a slow curve, shaped long ago by gravitational tides. The river glimmers like powdered silver poured across dark velvet. A subtle shift in color appears as you approach a region touched by faint gold and pearl tones. These hues arise from elements sprinkled through the dust: magnesium, calcium, and carbon, each adding its own delicate tint. The colors blend so gently they seem to float rather than shine. You drift deeper and find a small cluster of stable, white stars, all shining at nearly the same intensity. Their balanced light radiates calm order, as though this part of the galaxy has settled into a rhythm so soft it's almost musical. The stars' glow mixes, forming a collective silver aura that envelops you like cool mist. Between them, pockets of perfectly clear space open. These voids feel like serene pauses between breaths. The starlight crossing them remains unbroken, traveling vast distances without interference. Straight, strong, and infinitely patient. Past the cluster, a delicate fan-shaped structure unfurls, created by dust and faint gas illuminated by a nearby star. It resembles a silver feather floating through the dark, each strand outlined in reflected light. The feather-like form shifts so slowly you can barely sense its motion. At the far edge of the silver region, an unexpected hint of turquoise appears. It's faint at first, a whisper of color along the horizon. As you drift toward it, the turquoise deepens slightly, mixing with pale blue and silver to create a softly glowing frontier. This is where cooler gas blends with warmer dust, producing a hue that feels both refreshing and calming. like cool water reflecting early morning sky. You approach this turquoise boundary, sensing how gently the light shifts. The silver glow behind you begins to soften, dissolving into this new palette. Ahead, the colors grow richer, like the first ripples of dawn sliding over a still lake. And just beyond that shimmering horizon lies the next region of your cosmic journey, a tranquil expanse of turquoise nebulae and soft crystalline light, waiting to unfold. You drift onward, unhurried, carried by the quiet tides of interstellar calm. As you pass beyond the silver-white reaches of space, the light around you begins to blush with the faintest tint of blue-green. At first, it's only a suggestion, a soft glimmer, like sunlight touching shallow, clear water. But as you drift deeper, the color strengthens, spreading across the darkness in smooth, serene waves. Here, the universe feels cool and refreshing, like a quiet evening breeze after a warm day. The stars around you glow through the turquoise haze, their light softened and slightly diffused, making them appear as gentle lanterns floating in mist. The first structure you encounter is a wide, translucent cloud that glows with a pale aquamarine shimmer. This color comes from ionized gases releasing soft light after being touched by distant starlight. The glow isn't bright. It feels like the soft gleam of light falling through sea glass. As you drift into the cloud, you notice tiny crystalline grains suspended everywhere. These minute crystals reflect the turquoise light in subtle flashes, like floating flecks of icy jade. Their motion is barely perceptible, each one turning lazily as though rocked by an invisible tide. Ahead, a long curving filament stretches through the nebula, glowing in deeper shades of teal. It twists like a ribbon, shaped slowly by magnetic fields threading through space. The twist is delicate, almost hesitant, as if sculpted over millions of years by the softest of hands. You follow this ribbon and see where it widens into a bright, cloud-like swell. Hidden inside is a warm, pale star not yet fully formed. The swirling turquoise gases gently wrap it like layers of gauze, shaping its early glow. You can sense the slow, patient gathering of matter around this star, a beginning wrapped in quiet stillness. A little farther, the nebula thins into a space filled with tiny spherical grains, each one a frozen droplet of carbon or water ice. When the starlight hits them, they scatter faint turquoise glints in all directions. It reminds you of emerald dust stirred gently underwater. You drift through these grains like drifting through snowfall that glows softly under moonlight. As you leave the region of floating crystals, a deeper turquoise glow opens ahead, marking the entrance to a denser portion of the nebula. Here, the gas glows slightly brighter, forming long, curling waves. These waves are the slow breath of interstellar gas, expanding and contracting on timescales far beyond human perception. Within one of these deeper waves, you notice a soft hollow, a pocket of space where the density is lower and the light becomes serene and almost white. The change of color feels like stepping briefly into a different kind of quiet, a pause inside the turquoise glow. Beyond the hollow, a braided structure appears, made of several thin strands of illuminated dust weaving gently together. This braid glows faintly with hints of green and blue, like aquamarine threads woven by unseen hands. Braid-like formations occur where gas streams merge, flowing in gentle, harmonious patterns. To your left, a wide sheet of luminous mist floats like a veil. Its edges shimmer with pale mint light, and the interior glows deeper, like ocean water near a sheltered coast. You pass beside the veil, watching faint ripples of brightness cross its surface, gentle shifts caused by passing photons that have wandered for centuries. Near the veil, you find a cluster of very young stars, each one still wrapped in a thin cocoon of dust. These cocoons glow faintly turquoise from reflected nebular light. Their presence feels like a family of tiny warm embers resting within a sea of cool blue-green. Deeper in the nebula, you sense temperature changes, not through touch, but through color. Some regions glow slightly more green, others more blue. These shifts are whispers of density and energy, tiny differences spread across light years of quiet. You drift toward a patch where the color turns to a deeper teal. This is where the gas is denser, cooling slightly, creating a richer hue. The light here feels immersive, surrounding you like calm water. Dust grains move in faint spirals, forming delicate vortex patterns. A little farther, you find a region where bright streaks intersect, small jets of material streaming from newborn stars. These jets glow in bright turquoise lines that fade slowly as they stretch outward, softening into misty trails. They look like fine strokes of glowing paint on a canvas of space. Beyond these jets, the nebula opens into a wide turquoise valley, a low-density corridor between denser clouds. Light flows through it freely, pooling into a soft, luminous glow. This valley feels peaceful, like a tranquil path laid through an underwater meadow. As you drift along this corridor, you pass embedded crystals large enough to see clearly. These crystals, perhaps a millimeter across, drift as solitary gleaming flecks. Their facets catch starlight and scatter it in shifting patterns, like tiny glass sculptures floating in slow motion. At the far end of the valley, the turquoise mist begins to thin. The glow fades into pale blue, and then into clear space. Ahead, a distant region shimmers with soft violet tones, the next threshold of your journey. But before leaving, you turn once more. The turquoise nebula glows behind you like a luminous ocean suspended in the cosmos, with crystalline dust drifting like serene plankton in a quiet tide. The memory of its light settles gently around you, becoming part of the soft, unfolding story of your journey. You drift forward into the violet horizon, carried by the quiet breath of space. As the turquoise glow behind you slowly fades, the light ahead deepens into soft shades of violet. At first it appears as a faint blush on the edge of darkness, a quiet tint like the final moment before night fully settles. But step by step, or drift by drift, the color grows richer, unfolding into a serene landscape of purples, lilacs, and gentle indigos. Here, space feels especially calm, not empty, just deeply, peacefully quiet. The first thing you notice is a broad, diffuse cloud glowing in lavender, spread thinly across the stars like a veil of twilight. Its glow is delicate, created by faint ultraviolet light filtering through dust and gas. This gives the region a soft luminescence, as if the cosmos has dimmed the lights to let everything rest. Drifting closer, you see tiny shimmering particles suspended throughout the cloud. These grains are even finer than those in the turquoise regions, so small they behave more like smoke than dust. They catch violet light in subtle sparkles, flickering gently as they turn. A few moments later, you pass a slender filament of glowing gas stretched like a quiet ribbon in the dark. It emits a pale, serene lilac color caused by atoms releasing their stored energy, one soft breath at a time. The shape of the filament curves gracefully, like the edge of a wave frozen in motion. Deeper inside the violet region, you find a cluster of young stars shining with sharp blue-white light. Their brightness creates halos of faint purple around them, blending with the surrounding dust. These halos look like glowing petals, turning each star into a small, delicate flower in the cosmic night. Near this cluster lies a dense pocket of dust, darker and cooler, absorbing most of the surrounding light. It looks like an island of calm shadow, suspended within the glowing violet sea. Inside these shadows, new stars may be forming, hidden from sight, quiet sparks slowly gathering themselves. As you drift onward, the violet haze thickens into a deeper hue, forming soft gradients that melt into one another. From lavender to plum, from plum to muted indigo. This layered color makes the space feel full, textured, almost velvety. Ahead, you notice a faintly glowing arc shaped like the crescent of a shell. It glows with a rosy violet tint, illuminated by an aging star nestled behind it. The light is filtered through layers of dust, giving it a warm softness, like candlelight behind fabric. To your left, small jets of pale purple gas extend outward from a newborn star. These jets stretch like thin brush strokes, glowing brightly near their source and fading gradually into mist. They outline the quiet motion of the star's early life, gentle, steady, unhurried. Farther along, you pass through a thin region of ionized hydrogen glowing with a rich magenta tone. This color is rare and special, a sign of warmer, more energized gas spread like a whisper across the nebula. The glow fills the air with an almost dreamlike atmosphere. As you move through this magenta sheet, the stars behind it appear softened, their light filtered through the faint pinkish-purple glow. They look distant and slightly blurred, like lanterns seen through morning fog. Exiting the sheet, you encounter a region of perfect darkness between the violet clouds. This darkness is not empty. It is dense with gas that blocks even the faintest light. It cradles future stars in cold, protective silence. Drifting through this shadow feels like entering a quiet room where every sound has been gently muted. When you emerge again into light, it is a deep indigo glow that now surrounds you. This region has more energetic gas, glowing slightly brighter, but still soothing. The color here feels like the last minutes of twilight, when night has fully arrived, but still holds a hint of day. A little farther, you drift past a swirling eddy of dust, shaped into a curved spiral by ancient gravitational tides. It glows faintly purple at the edges, its center nearly black. The spiral looks like a galaxy in miniature, turning slowly, timelessly. Nearby, a long curtain of lilac mist stretches across space, its folds illuminated by scattered starlight. As you pass it, tiny waves of brightness travel along its surface, like ripples moving across a calm pond. To your right, a group of older stars shines with warm orange light. Their glow mixes with the violet haze, creating gentle gradients of peach, rose, and plum. The colors blend softly, as if the stars are painting the fog with their warmth. As you continue drifting, the violet tones around you begin to spread out, thinning into lighter lavender mist. You sense the region beginning to open, the nebula slowly dissolving into clearer space ahead. In the distance, you see a faint shimmer, not violet this time, but silvery gold, glowing with a muted brilliance. It feels like the soft glow of starlight reflected off still water. This new region is where metallic dust becomes more common. Tiny grains of iron, nickel, and silicates, each catching light like the faintest glimmer of polished stone. The transition into this radiant field is gentle, seamless. The violet veils behind you settle into memory like the last soft colors of dusk fading into night. You drift forward, drawn by the quiet promise of the silvery gold horizon waiting in Part 9, a realm of soft metallic light and ancient stellar echoes. As you leave the violet region behind, the light around you begins to change once more. The deep purples soften into pale lilac, then into a gentle gray blue, and finally into a faint, shimmering silver that spreads through space like a soft, luminous breath. This part of the galaxy feels calm in a different way, not cool like the turquoise regions and not warm like the golden star fields. Instead, it feels balanced, quiet in a way that settles your thoughts, like sitting beside a still lake before dawn. The first thing you notice is a broad, silver mist stretching across the horizon. It glows with soft metallic highlights created by tiny grains of mineral dust drifting in low-density clouds. These grains reflect starlight in delicate flashes, each glimmer appearing for a moment and then fading gently into the next. You drift into the mist, and the glow gathers around you. The dust grains here are rich in silicates, tiny, glass-like particles that scatter light into smooth, pearly gradients. As they rotate slowly, you see hints of gold, blue, and soft white shimmering across their surfaces. A little farther, you encounter a region where the mist thickens into a silver-gold haze. This glow is created by metallic dust, heated slightly by nearby stars. The heat is gentle, barely enough to warm the grains, but enough to make them release faint, comforting light that spreads through the cloud like embers hidden in fog. Within this haze, a group of older stars shines steadily. Their light is mellow, soft, and unusually uniform. These stars are past their brightest days, but their glow has become smoother with time, like polished stones warmed by the sun. Near them, you notice a thin arc of dust glowing with a faint metallic sheen. It curves like a quiet ripple frozen in space, created long ago when a passing star shaped the material into this subtle bow. The arc feels like a delicate boundary, separating one calm region from another. Drifting past the arc, you step into a clearer stretch where the silver glow deepens. Here, tiny nickel-rich grains scatter light into pale gold threads. The effect is gentle, not bright, but steady, as though the space around you is lit by distant candles. Ahead, something catches your attention. A broad river of glowing dust flowing between two star clusters. It isn't truly flowing, of course. The motion is incredibly slow, but the shape gives the illusion of a river winding through a valley of light. The dust within it glows with layers of silver, pearl, and muted gold, creating a serene, shimmering path. You drift along the river, letting the soft gradients guide you. Everywhere you look, the light feels diffused, softened by the fine metallic grains. It gives this region a dreamlike quality, as though space has been gently polished by time. A little ahead, you find a small pocket of brighter light, illuminated by a faint white star at its center. This star is quiet and stable, its glow cool and even. Around it, a thin halo of dust swirls in a slow, almost circular motion, creating a subtle crown of pale silver. Just beyond this star, long curtains of reflective dust hang like delicate drapes across space. Their surfaces shimmer gently as you pass, catching and releasing starlight in soft ripples. These curtains formed over millions of years as light, gravity, and dust interacted in calm harmony. Behind the curtains, you notice something rare, a small, soft-edged crystalline cloud, where microscopic crystals float freely, each one with facets that glint like frost when touched by nearby starlight. The crystals reflect faint pinpricks of white and silver, turning the cloud into a drifting field of glittering snow. As you move through this crystalline region, the stars appear sharper beyond the mist. Their light pierces through the dust in narrow beams, illuminating thin trails behind them. These beams look like quiet pathways leading from one star to another, connecting the sky with soft threads of light. Past the crystalline pocket, the light shifts again. The silver tones gain a hint of pale champagne gold, marking a region rich in old, faintly glowing material. Here, the dust has absorbed and re-emitted light for millions of years, giving it a warm undertone beneath the silvery brightness. You drift into this space, feeling its calm, steady presence. The stars seem more distant here, spaced widely apart. Their light travels long, gentle distances before touching the dust around you, creating a serene hush. To your right, a small cluster of faint white dwarfs glows like a handful of tiny pearls. Their combined light gives the nearby haze a soft, milky shimmer. This cluster is ancient, a quiet gathering of stars that have lived through their brightest eras and now rest together in peaceful harmony. Beyond them, the dust thins dramatically. The silver glow fades into faint wisps, revealing a clear, dark backdrop scattered with pinpoints of brighter stars. Ahead, a new color appears, a muted rose-gold shimmer, subtle but growing. This warm glow marks the entrance to a region shaped by gentle stellar winds and scattered mineral dust from aging stars. It is a softer, dusk-like zone where traces of gold and pink blend into the silver around you. You drift toward that warm shimmer, letting it grow larger, brighter, more welcoming. The silver plains fall behind you like the fading memory of a luminous dream. Ahead, the rose-gold horizon waits, quiet and calm, inviting you deeper into the next chapter of your journey. A journey through the soft metallic dawns of interstellar space. As you drift beyond the silvery plains, the first hints of rose-gold light begin to gather ahead of you. At first, it's just a faint warmth along the edge of sight, like the earliest glow of sunrise brushing over a still horizon. Slowly, gently, the color spreads, weaving soft pinks into the lingering silver, blending them until both tones melt into one tranquil radiance. This part of the galaxy feels like a dawn suspended in space, warm, quiet, and full of slow, glowing calm. You enter a wide region filled with rose-gold dust, fine as powdered light. Each grain reflects the warm hues of nearby stars, giving the space around you a soft, peach-colored glow. The dust drifts in loose, gentle rivers shaped by stellar breezes so faint they take centuries to form even the slightest curve. Inside one of these rivers of dust, you notice a denser patch glowing with deeper shades of gold. These grains contain tiny flecks of iron and carbon, warmed enough by distant starlight to release a faint radiance of their own. The effect is soothing, like embers slowly cooling in a quiet hearth. A little farther, you encounter a thin, luminous band that arcs across the region like a soft bridge. It was formed long ago when two stellar winds collided, shaping the dust into this delicate curve. Its light pulses faintly in slow rhythms, almost like breathing. As you drift beneath the band, you pass through a pocket of warm light where old stars gather in loose clusters. Their glow is not bright, but gentle, worn smooth by time. Some shine with pale apricot tones, others with dusty rose or muted gold. Together, they create a peaceful ambiance, like lanterns hanging in a twilight garden. You move deeper into the rose gold glow, and the starlight becomes more diffuse, scattering through regions heavy with warm-colored dust. Here, the stars appear softened, their edges blurred slightly by the mist. Their light pools around them in subtle halos that blend into one another, making the whole expanse feel wrapped in a continuous, luminous hush. Ahead, you spot a stellar cocoon, a cloud where a future star sleeps in the earliest stages of its formation. The cocoon glows faintly pink along its edges where scattered hydrogen gas releases tiny pulses of light. Inside, the forming star warms the dust just enough to create glimmers of deeper gold at the center. Farther along, a long fan-shaped formation stretches outward like a quiet hand opening. This shape is created by gentle outflows from a maturing star, pushing the dust into layered patterns. The layers shimmer softly as you pass, each one warmed by a slightly different mixture of golden and rosy light. You drift through a region where the dust thickens into silky, luminous shades. Their surfaces glow with a soft peach tone, and when you look closely, you notice subtle ripples running across them, faint echoes of ancient waves of radiation that once passed through. The ripples move slowly, far too slow to see, but their patterns remain like echoes etched in the dust. Emerging from the sheets, you enter a clearer stretch where the rose-gold tones brighten slightly. This clarity reveals a cluster of stars arranged like a quiet constellation, though not one known on Earth. Their combined light fills the region with a warm glow that settles deeply and peacefully into the expanse around you. In this warm corridor, tiny particles of crystalline silicate float gently, turning as you pass. Each one catches light in soft flashes of pink, white, and gold. They look like sparks drifting through still water, each glimmer lasting only an instant. Beyond them, a slender stream of darker dust winds through the rose-gold glow. This shadowy ribbon absorbs more light than it reflects, creating a path of soft twilight amid the warmth. It feels like drifting through the cool underside of a cloud at sunset. Past the ribbon, the color around you deepens further, becoming a warm copper rose. This tone appears in regions where metallic dust mixes with faint ultraviolet light, creating a soft, shimmering blend. The glow here feels comforting, like evening sunlight reflected off calm seawater. You drift into this coppery expanse, noticing how the stars seem slightly fewer but brighter. Their light travels farther before scattering, creating long rays that stretch like gentle pathways toward the horizon of space. To your right, a faint arc-shaped boundary glows with soft pink and white hues. This arc marks where a slow-moving shock wave passed long ago, gently compressing dust into this poised curve. Even now, millions of years later, the shape remains quiet, steady, beautifully undisturbed. As you glide forward, the rose gold tones begin to shift again. They grow lighter, more delicate, blending with soft whites and pale creams. The glow becomes thinner, more transparent, as if the dawn is gradually giving way to a brighter, more luminous morning. Ahead, you notice a soft silver-white glow rising like a new horizon. It blends seamlessly with the lingering gold behind you, creating a gradient of light that stretches for light years. This glow marks the approach to a region where young, brilliant stars illuminate space with clear radiance. The rose-gold expanse settles gently behind you, like the warm memory of a sunrise that stretches across an endless sky. As the rose-gold glow gently fades behind you, the light ahead begins to soften into delicate shades of pearl and pale cream. At first, the change is subtle, just a faint coolness mixing into the warm tones. But moment by moment, the palette shifts until the entire region opens into a serene expanse of soft white radiance, bright yet soothing, like the first light of a quiet morning spread across a still landscape. The airless silence of space feels lighter here, almost airy, as though the glow itself carries a calming breath. You drift into a wide, tranquil corridor of white, dust-filled light. The dust grains here are extremely fine, almost like powdered quartz, and they scatter starlight into smooth, hazy beams. The beams drift gently, spreading outward like soft rays filtering through thin clouds. Far ahead, a cluster of bright young stars glows with a clear, steady brilliance. Their light blends into the surrounding dust, creating a luminous backdrop that feels both gentle and expansive. These stars burn hotter and cleaner than the ancient suns you passed earlier, giving the region a sense of newness, as though it is always on the edge of dawn. As you approach the cluster, you notice subtle variations in the light, faint ripples shimmering through the haze. These ripples come from tiny differences in density within the dust, soft waves created long ago by gentle stellar winds. They stretch like quiet patterns across the luminous sea. A little closer, you drift past a delicate halo of ionized gas, glowing with a faint white-blue tint. The gas is thin, but the star's light energizes it just enough to create a shimmering aura around the entire region. The glow pulses lightly, as though the star is breathing in slow, serene rhythms. To your left, you find a region where the dust forms thin, layered sheets, each one with slightly different transparency. These sheets catch the light in soft gradients, cream, pearl, pale silver, blending smoothly like watercolor washes across the sky. They move slowly, almost imperceptibly, shifting with a quiet flow of radiation. You drift beyond the layers and into a wider clearing where the light becomes clearer and more focused. Here, several young stars shine like small white beacons, their light cool and steady. Their glow feels fresh, like morning frost touched by dawn. Nearby, a faint veil of luminous mist floats across your path. It glows gently with an opal-like sheen, created by the scattering of light through microscopic crystals suspended in the dust. As you move through the veil, the light around you softens even more, settling into muted, pearly tones. Beyond the veil, a region of nearly perfect clarity appears, a pocket almost free of dust. The stars here shine sharply, their light clean and uninterrupted. Their reflections seem to shimmer slightly in the emptiness, forming gentle pathways of brightness stretching across the void. As you drift through this open space, you notice a narrow stream of pale white dust flowing like a thin trail through the clarity. The particles are arranged in a long, even line, shaped by the faint gravitational pull of a nearby star. This trail glows like a soft thread of silk suspended in still air. A little farther on, you find a glowing shell of material surrounding an aging star. The shell is wide and thin, formed from layers of gently released gas that now drift outward in slow, expanding rings. The inner rings shine more brightly, while the outer rings fade into soft whirls of pearl-colored dust. Emerging from the rings, you drift into a region rich with microcrystals. These crystals scatter the light into faint rainbow flashes, almost invisible, but beautiful when you catch them at just the right angle. They shimmer like tiny prisms turning in water. To your right, a soft column of light rises from a narrow lane of dust. Shaped by the radiation of several stars nearby, the column looks solid at first glance, but as you move past it, you see it dissolve into countless particles reflecting the surrounding glow. Farther ahead, the pale radiance deepens into a soft ivory haze that fills the space around larger stars. These stars shine steadily, their light filtered through dust into warm, velvety tones. The haze brings a gentle sense of enclosure, like drifting into a softly lit hall. In the distance, you see a broad fan of silver-white dust spread like feathers across the void. Each feather-like shape glows at the edges where starlight catches the most. As you drift past the fan, you see faint ripples and waves created by the slow interactions between expanding shells of stellar matter. Past the fan, the white glow begins to shift again. Subtle hints of soft sapphire blue and pale lavender begin to creep into the edges. These colors bloom gently, mixing with the pearl and ivory light to form a new, cool-toned palette. Ahead, a wide, muted blue horizon opens, glowing with calm, dim radiance. This marks the beginning of a tranquil region shaped by cool gases and distant stars. The transition feels like stepping from morning sunlight into a serene, shaded grove. As you drift toward that horizon, the pale radiance behind you remains warm and soft. Like the light of a quiet dawn, you leave slowly, gently, with no hurry. As the pale ivory glow behind you recedes, a cooler tone begins to gather ahead, gentle, muted, almost like moonlight settling over a calm sea. The transition is soft, gradual, as though the universe is dimming its lanterns just slightly, letting the light rest in deeper shades. The space before you opens into a vast region of soft blue haze spread thinly across the stars like drifting watercolor. This blue is not sharp or cold. It is velvety, muted, the color of evening air settling on distant hills. It brings a quiet sense of spaciousness, a widening of breadth. You move into the haze, and the first thing you notice is how balanced and serene everything feels. The dust here is fine and evenly scattered, creating a smooth, gentle wash of blue that softens the light of every star you pass. Their glow becomes more contemplative, more inward, like lanterns burning behind frosted glass. A little farther, a broad, faint cloud floats across your path. Its colors shift subtly between pale cerulean and soft lavender, depending on the angle of starlight. The cloud itself is cool and diffuse, shaped over eons by the slightest motion of interstellar gas. When you drift through it, the light dims gently, as though wrapped in a thin layer of calm. Within the cloud, tiny reflective grains scatter blue-white highlights in slow, drifting sparkles. Each grain moves with patient grace, turning lazily as though rocked by a silent tide. They look like fragments of ice caught in a deep ocean current, glimmering faintly as you pass. Leaving the cloud, you enter a clearer region where stars appear in loose, delicate groups. Their arrangement feels organic, like clusters of wildflowers blooming in a meadow. Some glow with pale sapphire tones, others with cool silver. Together, they create an impression of stillness that runs deeper than silence. Ahead, a faint arc of luminous dust curves through the blue, shaped by the slow outflow of a distant star. The arc seems almost weightless, a thin stroke of light suspended in a wide canvas. Its glow is subtle, barely brighter than the surrounding haze, as if it's a whisper drawn across the sky. You drift under the arc and into a region where the light grows softer still. The dust here is thicker, tinged with hints of indigo, creating muted shadows that feel gentle rather than dark. Moving through this space feels like gliding under the surface of calm water. To your left, small pockets of warmer light appear, illuminated by older stars shining through the haze. Their golden glow mixes peacefully with the surrounding blue, forming long gradients of teal and soft turquoise. These blended colors shimmer like the meeting point of sunlight and deep ocean. A little farther, you find a delicate column of dust stretching upward in a faint beam. This column was shaped by a young star's earliest winds, forming a narrow channel of light that extends for light years. As you pass beside it, the column glows a soft periwinkle, touched by the starlight that stimulates its edges. Beyond it lies a wide clearing where the blue haze becomes almost transparent. Here, the stars shine more brightly, reflecting in the dust below like quiet lights mirrored on still water. The space feels airy, open, expansive, a gentle exhale from the deeper regions behind you. In this clearer area, thin threads of illuminated gas drift horizontally, shaped by distant gravitational currents. Their color is a pale, icy blue, almost white at the edges. The threads weave through one another like strands of silk stirred by slow, invisible hands. You drift onward, watching as the stars around you grow slightly fewer but larger. Their glow is calmer, deeper, suggesting they are older, more settled in their quiet orbits. Some shine with softened blue hues, others with a cool, washed-out silver. All feel steady, like quiet thoughts drifting between breaths. To your right, faint ripples of light pass across a patch of dust, created by overlapping waves of stellar energy. These ripples shimmer so gently, they seem almost still, like faint lines of brightness resting on calm water. Past the ripples, you encounter a long plateau of glowing material, not solid, but shaped like a wide shelf drifting across the stars. The edges glow softly, outlined in cool blue-white light. Inside, the dust reflects starlight in faint gradients that shift as you glide above it. Beyond the plateau, the entire region begins to brighten. The haze thins, and the stars ahead shine with enhanced clarity. The color starts to shift again. The blue grows paler, more delicate, threaded with hints of soft silver and very light lavender. In the distance, you see a faint pearl-like glow rising at the horizon of space. It spreads gently, like morning light returning after a long, quiet night. This marks the transition into a region rich with quiet, cool radiance. A luminous field where starlight gathers softly across broad stretches of dust. As the muted blue glow settles behind you, the space ahead begins to brighten with a soft, pearly radiance. It spreads gently, like dawn light, slowly gathering over a quiet ocean. The colors here are delicate, not bold, not sharp, but smooth blends of pale silver, soft cream, and hints of faint lavender that drift through the airless expanse like whispered tones. The region feels bright, yet not in any way overwhelming. The light arrives in soft layers, unfolding like sheer fabric, gently rising in a breeze. You drift into the first of these layers, a thin pearl veil of dust glowing faintly in the light of distant stars. The grains here are exceptionally fine, almost mist-like, scattering light into smooth, even luminosity. Everything feels quiet, as though time itself has slowed slightly to match the gentle brightness. Beyond the veil, you encounter a broad open field where the dust thins and light becomes clearer. Stars shine with crisp, pale halos, their glow diffused softly by distant dust. Some halos are warm ivory, others cool silver, forming a tranquil constellation of shimmering circles. In the middle of this field, a single bright, gentle star glows with a clear white light. The space around it is shaped into a soft aureole, where dust has settled into a thin, evenly spread ring. As you drift past, you notice the ring reflecting the star's light in subtle arcs, like delicate ripples spreading across still water. A little further ahead, a soft fan of luminous dust opens like a celestial blossom. The light catches its edges with a hint of iridescence, producing faint gradients of cream, pale blue, and lilac. It looks like the universe paused here, letting the dust bloom into a quiet moment of beauty. To your left, a long, gently curving stream of pearl gray material drifts across the starry backdrop. The stream has been shaped by centuries of slow-moving gravitational currents, giving it a natural, graceful flow. Its motion is too subtle to see directly, but its shape reveals its story, a patient, soft shifting through time. As you follow the stream, you glide into a region where the light brightens into clean, calm white. Here, the airless space seems to glow from within, illuminated by countless young stars in the distance. Their collective radiance creates a pale, warm glow that settles gently along your path. Within this brightened expanse, you spot a series of thin, overlapping sheets of dust, each glowing with a soft pearlescent sheen. These sheets look like layers of translucence stacked one upon another, each offering a slightly different gradient of light, depending on its thickness and composition. Passing through the layers, you come upon a serene region where starlight scatters in soft beams, creating long, slow rays that appear almost solid in the dust. These rays drift across the void like pillars of light in a quiet cathedral, peaceful and unmoving. A cluster of stars nearby glows with slightly warmer tones, soft amber mixed with white. Their light blends into the pearl haze, forming a gradient of pale gold that feels both gentle and comforting. These stars are older, but their glow has softened rather than dimmed. To your right, you notice a faint rose-lavender shimmer drifting through the dust. It comes from rare molecules that emit light when warmed by certain wavelengths. The shimmer is subtle, drifting like faint perfume across the luminous air. Further ahead, a delicate arch of dust curves in a nearly perfect, slender line. You drift beneath it, and the arch's underside glows brighter, catching the light from a star behind you. The glow cascades across its surface in gentle waves, as though light is flowing downward, like a slow waterfall. The region then opens into a quiet expanse where the pearl glow becomes softer and more luminous. You see wide swathes of dust illuminated in subdued shades, pale blue, muted cream, hints of silver white, all blending into an atmosphere of deep serenity. Here, tiny crystalline grains hover like miniature prisms. When starlight passes through them, they release faint, fleeting flashes of rainbow color. These flashes are delicate and rare, lighting up for an instant and then fading like dream echoes. As you move on, you find a long spur of material rising gently from the plain of dust, shaped like the slow crest of an invisible wave. It glows faintly along its edge, guiding your gaze toward the horizon of the region. And that horizon has changed. The colors ahead deepen into soft dusk tones of lavender and muted plum. The pearl brightness behind you gradually transitions into a cooler, more evening-like glow. This marks the entrance to a region shaped by dust, rich in carbon and faint starlight, resulting in hues reminiscent of twilight settling over distant hills. You drift toward that lavender dusk, feeling the pearl halo fields ease behind you like fading daylight. As the pearl-lit fields slowly dim behind you, the light ahead deepens into gentle tones of lavender and muted plum. The transition feels like evening settling over a peaceful valley, calm, unhurried, serene. The universe softens its glow as if encouraging every drifting traveler to slow, breathe, and rest. You drift into the first layers of this twilight region, and the colors fold around you like soft fabric. The dust here carries traces of carbon and faint metallic grains, giving the light a velvety texture. It scatters starlight into subtle gradients, pale mauve near the brighter stars, deeper violet where the light fades. Ahead, a broad lavender mist stretches across your path. It glows softly, as though lit from within by a distant memory of starlight. When you enter it, the colors wrap around you in gentle swirls, slow and fluid, like the motion of underwater currents. Within this mist, tiny grains reflect light in faint bluish flashes, small, fleeting glimmers that appear and vanish like sighs of brightness. These grains drift gently, responding to currents so delicate they take centuries to shape even the smallest motion. Emerging from the mist, you find yourself in a region dotted with dim, ruby-colored stars, their glow filtered through layers of dust. They shine softly, without intensity, casting warm streaks across the lavender background. Their light feels like embers resting quietly in a vast hearth. To your left, you notice a graceful arc of violet dust, thin and slightly spiraled. This shape was carved slowly by the gravitational pull of two stars passing near one another long ago. Now, it hangs in space like a delicate ribbon, shimmering with gentle purples and smoky blues. Beneath the arc, a faint shadowed hollow opens, a pocket where the dust is thicker and the light dims. Entering it feels like drifting beneath branches into evening shade. The stars outside appear softened, as though viewed through layers of peaceful dusk. Deeper still, you encounter a wide curtain of deeper plum-colored dust, flowing gently across space. The curtain is semi-transparent. Behind it, stars glow through in muted tones, their colors softened into pastels. Passing through feels like stepping behind a delicate veil. Beyond the curtain, the twilight tones grow richer. You drift into a region filled with long, sweeping waves of dust, each glowing with slightly different shades: lavender, silver violet, muted amethyst. These waves move with a patience that spans eons, shaped by the slow tide of interstellar gas. Farther along, you pass a group of older stars glowing in soft rose gold and faded apricot tones. Their gentle warmth mixes beautifully with the cool lavender around them, creating a blended atmosphere reminiscent of the last color in the sky before night becomes complete. To your right, a thin beam of bluish light extends like a narrow spotlight across the void. It's caused by a faraway star shining through a low-density lane in the dust. The light traveling along this path feels like a quiet guide through the twilight, a single calm thread drawing your gaze forward. Ahead, you notice a slow spiraling plume emerging from a small, hidden star. The plume glows with faint violet and warm blush tones, its edges illuminated delicately. It rotates so gradually that its motion seems frozen in place, a shape carved by time itself. Past the plume, a region of nearly perfect stillness opens. Here, the dust is almost motionless. The light hangs in the air like suspended breath. Stars shine faintly through the soft haze, their halos turning the space around them into tiny islands of calm radiance. As you drift through this stillness, you see occasional sparks of pale pink reflections caused by microscopic crystals turning gently in the soft breeze of radiation. Their reflections appear only for an instant, then disappear again into the twilight. Beyond the quiet, you encounter a long lavender ridge, gently glowing along its crest. It stretches for light years in a slow arc. The ridge marks where ancient flows of gas once converged. Now it stands as a calm horizon line in this muted expanse. At the far edge of the ridge, the color changes again. The lavender deepens into soft midnight violet, almost blue, but not quite. This deeper hue hints at cooler, more tranquil regions ahead, a transition into a space where starlight grows thin and the dust turns from color to shadow. And at the very edge of vision, you see a faint horizon of near silence, a region where light dims into the subtlest possible glow. Not dark, not empty, simply quiet, like the last traces of twilight melting into calm night. This is the doorway to the final part of your journey. Behind you, the lavender twilight settles like a deep, peaceful sigh. Ahead, the quietest region of all awaits, a realm where the universe rests. And you drift toward it, unhurried, wrapped in the fading colors of cosmic dusk. As the lavender twilight slowly settles behind you, the light ahead softens into the gentlest glow you've encountered yet. It isn't bright, and it isn't dark. Instead, it exists in that perfect in-between, a soft dimness where the universe itself feels as though it is resting. This region is the quiet night of the galaxy. Not empty, not silent, simply peaceful. You drift into it slowly, as though carried by a calm tide. The dust here is sparse and delicate, creating only the faintest veil of soft gray-blue around you. It scatters what little starlight reaches this distant space into muted tones, the color of deep dusk just before the first stars appear. Ahead, a lone faint star shines with a soft, steady glow. Its light is so gentle that it almost blends into the background, like a candle flickering in a far corner of a quiet room. As you pass it, the glow brushes lightly against you, leaving an impression of warmth without heat, presence without sound. The dust grows even thinner now. You begin to see the galaxy itself spread out before you, not in bright detail, but as a soft tapestry of distant glimmers, like scattered petals of light. faraway stars gather into pale clusters, their shapes blurred by distance, appearing like shimmering clouds on the horizon. As you drift through this wide, tranquil space, you notice a thin band of silver dust, stretching like a soft horizon line. It glows with the faintest possible sheen, a whisper of starlight catching on grains so small they feel almost like floating light itself. Passing through the band is like gliding through a delicate shimmer. Beyond the band, the space opens further. Light becomes softer still, dissolving into a cool, luminous dimness. Here, everything feels slow, not frozen, but moving with such patience that even time seems to breathe gently. A little farther, you encounter a long hollow of near silence, a region where almost no dust remains. The stars visible here are sharp and tiny, each one a distant whisper on the edge of vision. They look like grains of frost caught in a soft winter glow. The space feels spacious, calm, weightless. As you drift deeper into this hollow, the faint glow around you begins to change. The color shifts from dusk blue to the lightest shade of violet, like the final traces of evening gently giving way to night. This glow comes from extremely thin gas, so faint it is almost invisible, releasing delicate light as it interacts with the cold radiation around it. Past the violet haze, you enter an area dotted with pale star remnants, faint clusters of old starlight that glow like distant reflections on still water. They don't shine brightly, they simply exist, peaceful and steady. Their presence feels comforting, like quiet memories resting gently in the dark. To your right, you see a faint silver arc, almost imperceptible. It is the remnant of an ancient wave of gas, now stretched thin and illuminated only by the soft glow of distant stars. It hangs in the air like the edge of a feather drifting through shadow. Beyond this arc, the stars begin to thin out, not disappear, simply drift farther apart, leaving more space between every point of light. The darkness between them grows velvety, calming, complete. You drift through this deeper quiet, feeling the stillness settle around you like a soft blanket. In this region, even the faintest particle reflects light with unusual clarity. A single grain glimmers like a distant spark before fading again into the dim. Ahead, a broad field of gentle starlight opens. Not bright stars, just a fine scattering of tiny glows, each one delicate and far away. They look like distant lanterns placed carefully across the night. Together, they form a landscape of soft, distant whispers. You drift through this star field, and the light seems to settle gently on your thoughts. Everything slows, unfolds, and softens. The universe here feels deep, but never empty, full of calm, full of breath, full of quiet presence. Far ahead, you see a final horizon, a pale, silvery glow that marks the edge of this tranquil region. It is not a boundary, not an ending. It is simply the point where the galaxy becomes so distant, so soft, that its light melts into a single, smooth radiance. As you glide toward it, the stars behind you blur into a soft tapestry of faint glimmers. The dust drifts away. The colors fade into a gentle monochrome of peace. You reach the edge and pause. You look back at everything you've passed. The golden meadows of ancient suns, the turquoise veils of crystalline nebulae, the silver plains, the lavender twilight, and the pearl-bright fields. Each region folds into the next in your memory, like pages of a calm, endless lullaby sung by the galaxy itself. This final glow surrounds you now, soft, warm, and quiet. It feels like a place where light rests, where the universe breathes, and where your thoughts can finally settle. You let yourself drift slowly, gently, until the glow becomes all you see. A soft lullaby of light, a quiet night beyond the stars, a place made for resting. Here, nothing rushes, nothing pulls, nothing demands. It is simply peace. And as the universe wraps you in this softness, you feel free to close your eyes just for a moment and let the journey settle into calm stillness. Everything is quiet, everything is light, everything is safe.